Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever.
Okay, thanks very much, Linda. Good morning, councillors and members of the public and officers. I'd just like to open the meeting for today, the 12th of October 2021. Call for any apologies. Councillor Smith is WebExing in. Councillor Smith is online, and Councillor Mathers is on his way, but according to traffic, I was led to believe. So it shouldn't be too far. And Councillor Fisher's approved leave of absence granted. And I'll do the acknowledgement to country. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land in which we meet today, the Drumble people. Pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. I extend that respect to our neighbouring Aboriginal peoples within our local government area, the Gungaloo Nation people, the Barada, Capybara and Yetamarala people, and also acknowledge the Torres Strait Islander people whose land is in the Torres Straits but who live and work on Aboriginal land. Thanks, councillors, and we'll move on to item 2, opening prayer, brought to us today by Major Dale Brooks from the Salvation Army. Good morning, Dale.
Good morning, Mayor and councillors. Great to be with you this morning, and it's my pleasure to pray with you. I'd like to preface that with something I read on a gravestone back in 1995 in my honeymoon. It says this. Don't worry. Oh, goodness me, maybe I better not read this. All right, there's a story. I'll tell you the story later. Remember me as you pass by. As you are now, so once was I. As I am now, so you must be. Prepare for death and follow me. It's a bit sobering, isn't it? But what it means is that what we do in life matters. And so, my prayers for you this morning, if we can bow our heads. Father God, we live, we exist, and we have our being because of your great love. And for each one of us, you've ordained a purpose. And as that purpose is brought to bear in this city of Rockhampton, I pray that these people here who you have placed strategically to accomplish that purpose, I pray that you give them wisdom, grace, power beyond their experience, and Lord, a sense of your presence in all of their conversations, all of the decisions that are enacted in this place. I pray that Rockhampton in particular would be a place that prospers your purposes so that people who come here would do so with a sense of anticipation, knowing that the future that's before them there is going to be one that's accompanied by a sense of accomplishment and fruitfulness that otherwise would not have been apparent. So as the conversations take place in this hall today, bless each person here with that special measure of wisdom and grace and honour. I commit them to you and I thank you for this occasion. Bless each one, I pray, in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Okay, thanks, councillors. We might just bear in mind too that traffic accident that happened yesterday in Stanwell. Keep in their thoughts people that were involved in emergency service and people that attended that as well. Councillors, morning. Leave of absence and apologies. We have a leave of absence from Councillor Neil Fisher that's previously been granted. Councillor Smith is on WebEx and we have a full house, so I might move on to confirmation of previous minutes, that the minutes from the ordinary meeting on the 28th of September be confirmed as true and accurate record of those. Councillor Smith, happy to move. Seeker seconder. Councillor Wickerson, I'll put that. Those in favour? Against? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Moving on to item 5, declarations of interest in matters on the agenda. Councillor Smith has informed the meeting, declared a conflict or a perceived conflict of interest in item 10.5, the Queensland Beef Corridors Council, as roads mentioned in the report include Maydowns Road, which commences in Clark Creek and traverses 31 k's to Middlemount and the partner Pat Moran, owns land on the side of that road and commenced to the road to the Isaac River, about 10 k's along there. Councillor Smith, did you want to talk to that at all? Would you like to remain in the meeting, or would you like to put it to
I'd like to meet and to decide at this stage if I've got a conflict, because, those rural roads around our region sort of interest me. This one...
Yeah, look, I believe that it's reasonably far removed, but it's a conflict and it's being recorded, but I believe you need to be involved in the meeting as your portfolio takes in infrastructure, and part of that is roads and road transport. So I'm happy to move that you remain in the meeting. Seek a seconder. Second to Councillor Rutherford. Question, Councillor Wickerson?
Just on another matter, maybe another potential conflict.
Okay, no, that's all right. Well, I'll put that one. Those in favour, opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Wickerson.
Thanks, Mr Chair. Just need some clarification.
Sorry, we just need to record how that was voted, sorry. Okay. Councillor Mather's in favour, Councillor Wickerson in favour, Councillor Rutherford's in favour, Councillor Kirkland in favour, and Councillor Latcham in favour. Thanks, Linda. Councillor Wickerson.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. Just need some clarification from the table. The item 10.1, Community Assistance Program for funds to go to Capricorn Helicopter Rescue. Now, I understand that my brother-in-law, Mark Tobin, is still on the board for Capricorn Helicopter Rescue. Is that still a bit too familiar?
I think that's too,
Okay, well, I will declare a conflict of interest in that and elect to
leave the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll grab the details of that for the minutes. Yep. Okay, thanks, Councillor Wickerson. If there are no further declarations or conflicts, just please let us know if something arises throughout the course of the meeting, councillors, we can record that. Public forums, deputations nil. Presentations of petitions nil. Committee reports 8.1. Audit and Business Improvement Committee meeting 7th of October 2021. Councillors, you happy to move?
Happy to move that very pleasing result.
Thank you. And seconded, Councillor Kirkland. Any discussion around that item, councillors? If not, I'll put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to item 9, Local Government Association of Queensland Incorporated Annual Conference Delegates with Voting Rights.
So this is a bit of just a report, Mayor, just in case somebody isn't able to make it.
My commitment there previously will be I'll need to be back in Rockhampton, so I'll miss the last day, which normally where the majority of the motions will be, and Councillor Fisher with his leave will be also not attending, so we'll need to have councillors that are attending authorised to be able to undertake those votes. So I'd probably be happy with all three if that was okay. We could have the three, Evan, or do we need to have them in one or different names?
Probably two, man.
Two?
Two, yeah, it has to be two.
Councillor Smith, has anyone got any preferences with the group that are there? That anyone?
Oh, yeah, Mr Mayor, I'm happy for Councillor Latcham and Councillor Kirkland to do it, give them good experience.
Yep. No,
because I have done it on lots of occasions previously, and I think it is good experience for new councillors to be the voters.
Okay, no, that's good.
Can I also add that I think we need to go through the motions to make sure that we're all happy, which way to vote.
Our positions, yeah, more than happy to do that. We do a catch-up prior to the actual delegation and deliberation.
The delegates come, we'll sit down, have a meeting with myself before you go. So
yep, okay.
That might not happen. That might be with Ross this year.
Yep, we can work on that though anyway. Questions though, Councillor Mathers?
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor. I just want to say I have full faith in all three councillors that will be there, so I'm sure any of them could represent the table. So I'm happy with whoever is decided.
I think we've got to a point there, Councillor Smith. Thank you for nominating the other two, and that takes out any of the issues there. So I'm happy to move and seek a seconder with those recommendations. Seconded Councillor Mathers. I'll put those in favour. Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you, councillors. Moving on to 10.1, the Community Assistance Program Major Sponsorship. And Councillor Wickerson will leave the room while they go through this item. Building site. Okay, thanks very much, Alicia. I'll hand over to you.
Good morning, Mayor and councillors. So it's the RACQ Capricorn Helicopter Rescue Service requesting assistance to conduct the CBD Christmas Fair for this year. This has been an event that has gone on since 2013 or 14, and it initially came about at the former Mayor's request to start to stimulate the CBD and have this fair, and it also coincided with the Christmas lights and the turning on of the Christmas tree. Now, it didn't happen last year because of COVID, obviously, and was cancelled. But this year, there's hoping to get the event going again. In terms of looking forward and the review, I know that we've had several discussions around the review of the community assistance programs and the community events that we will hold into the future. So again, until we settle on that review, this process continues as normal. So previously, the other aspect of it is that we discussed with Advance Rockhampton about activation of the CBD. So this event, this was prior to actually knowing whether the RACQ were going to want to organise this event. So now that they've come forward and they're wanting to have this event, the two will coincide together nicely in terms of the activation and the Christmas decorations and all of that. Happy to take any questions, Mr Mayor.
Thanks, Alicia. Greg, did you have anything to add? No questions.
Thank you, Mayor. Not a lot really there. I'm looking forward to working with RACQ on this, that's for sure. And we're working through all the Christmas activities. We're calling it the 12 Days of Christmas right now. So I think it's a very prudent use of our community assistance program. So I highly endorse the recommendation as well.
Okay, thanks, Greg. Councillor Rutherford.
Mr Mayor, I'm happy to move. This event has been a really good event for our community in the past, and I know we did have some questions, but while our matrix is the way it is, I think we run with it, and it's certainly an event and an organisation that's doing a great job of running an event for us, so I'm happy to move.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Rutherford. Councillor Kirkland?
Yeah, absolutely concur with everything Councillor Rutherford has said. I think it's a fabulous family event, and the fact that it is lining up with our corporate plan and our stance on reactivating that CBD area. I think it's a great project. I'd love to. I'm looking forward to it. Second it, please.
Happy to second. Okay, thanks, Councillor Kirkland. Yes, well, I echo the comments from both councils. I think it is important and one that our community look forward to, and be sad to see if it wasn't there. But that said, it's definitely going ahead. So that said, councillor, if there's no further comments or questions, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Opposed? The motion's carried. Thank you. I'll ask Councillor Wickerson back. Oh, sorry, yeah. Unanimous, yeah. Sorry, Linda.
Thank you.
Council, move on to item 10.2, Museum of Art Membership Program, Fees and Charges 2021-22 Amendments, and hand over to Damon. Thanks very much, Damon.
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor, councillors. The report before you this morning relates to proposed amendments to Council's adopted fees and charges schedule for this current financial year, particularly as it relates to the proposed membership program for the Rockhampton Museum of Art upon commencement. As noted in the report and previously discussed with Council, a consolidation of a number of membership categories is being proposed in terms of the initial opening of the new Rockhampton Museum of Art, with the intention of regular review and obtaining feedback from those visitors to be able to adapt and potentially grow that membership program over time. two additional amendments to the fees and charges proposed before you also relates to room hire for one of the spaces or rooms within the Rockhampton Museum of Art, which is ostensibly a staff facility and not deemed to be appropriate for public hire, and also for the imposition of a nominal administration fee for the replacement of lost or misplaced membership cards. It is intended that upon approval, or if approved today, that there will be a promotional campaign commenced in relation to that membership program in advance of the opening, highlighting the various benefits attached to the different categories, particularly as it may relate to, for example, discounted hire rates for various rooms and spaces within the Rockhampton Museum of Art. But happy to take any questions, Mr Mayor.
Thanks, Damon. Portfolio spokesperson, Councillor Wickerson, any comments? Or
just some comments, Mr Mayor. Happy to move this, but also very happy to see that we're acknowledging the long support of existing Friends of the Gallery, with I think initial offers for the first 500 being offered to those people initially. That support, we can't survive without that, and hopefully that will also inspire a new generation of supporters and friends of the Rockhampton Museum of Art. Happy to move.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Wickerson. Yes, again, echo that. It's important sometimes when you have something new that you forget about the past and the history and the legacy there that's been forged over many years to work in that space. So it's important that they're being recognised in those first offers. We have a mover, Councillor Wickerson, seconded Councillor Kirkland. Those in favour. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Moving on to item 10.3, Councillor Smith has a perceived conflict of interest in that one, but we voted on that one for you to remain, so might hand over to... Oh, sorry, this is... I've jumped one, I think, so... Yeah, we'll go to the 10.3, the tender consideration plan for the retail store stock list, Rockhampton Museum of Art. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillors, this next report for your consideration this morning relates to a tender consideration plan for the retail store there at the Rockhampton Museum of Art. The potential vendors identified and included in the tender consideration plan have been identified following a public expression of interest that has been undertaken by staff, and also following investigations and planning in relation to the proposed operations of the store upon opening of the new facility. The objective of the tender consideration plan is to provide Council and the Rockhampton Museum of Art the opportunity to engage directly with vendors in relation to stock for the retail store. I would note, however, that it is not proposed that stock from all of those initial vendors that are identified and detailed in the report will be purchased, and there will be stock on hand from all of those vendors at any particular point in time. That is just an exhaustive list of potential vendors over time there for the Rockhampton Museum of Art. A significant focus of the retail store and its operations within the new facility will be on local content, and also engaging with local artists in a variety of ways in which to support business development and opportunities for those local artists as well. But again, happy to take any questions.
Thanks very much, Damon. Councillor Kirkland?
Thanks, Mr Mayor, through you. Damon, just wanting to clarify, in the event that further down the track we have people that would like to move their product through this particular retail store, does it need to come back to council to receive those businesses and their stock, or is it left to the discretion of the retail store to negotiate that, or is it simply not an option until the next round?
No, so under the proposal that we have, the expression of interest that has already been undertaken will be ongoing in terms of promotion and opportunity for other local artists or potential vendors, which will then be considered based on criteria and obviously the proposal that's put before it, and then depending on the nature of the stock, the value in terms of what procurement process may need to be undertaken to meet the local government regulations, it would be likely that as those operations commence and continue over time, that there may be some modifications, and again, subject to those value thresholds, may well need to come back to council for further consideration.
Okay, thanks very much, Damon. Councillor Wickerson, any comments on the portfolio?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr Mayor. Again, this is a really good way to support our local up-and-coming artists, and some of the names on there we might remember. I think Erin Dunn stood out to me as one of the winners of Gold Award previously, so it's good that the museum can not only showcase exhibitions from hopefully around the world, but also showcase our local talent here and also give them a means to promote and sell their goods. As we learnt yesterday, it will be a combination, we think, of purchased items, stock for the retail store, but also commissioned work. So I gather they would be more unique one-off art pieces that might be of a higher price point that could be sold on commission. So again, it gives a good outlet for artists to make some money. Hopefully we can make some money out of too running the store, but provide that showcase for local up-and-coming artists. So it's a win-win, I think. Yeah.
It'd be good to have a review in 12 months' time to see how successful it's been. So, yeah. Okay, then, if there are no further questions, mover and a seconder. Move Councillor Wickerson, seconded Councillor Kirkland. If there are no further questions, I'll put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thanks, councillors. Moving on to item 4, the Dean Street bus stop location. I see Stu joined us. Thanks very much, Stuart.
Good morning, Mr Mayor and councillors. So as part of the Queensland Government program to make our bus stops DDA compliant, Council have been progressing through a range of bus stops with TransLink to make them up to the DDA standard, and that predominantly involves putting in a concrete pad and J-pole and bringing up the standard there. There's a handful of remaining bus stops that remain, and one of those is on Dean Street, previously located at 433. Now, as part of the review of that bus stop, there are some issues with it being too close to the corner of Dean and Hyde Street, and presenting a bit of a risk to safety of the public there. So a previous report was brought to council about the location, and this report, I suppose, is a follow-up to that, providing some other alternatives to the location of it. So we've looked at 4 different options, and I'll go through those now. The first was to leave it where it currently is. So the issue with that is that when a bus pulls in, the actual rear of the bus will overhang into the intersection, and that presents a safety risk, I suppose, that we don't think is worth taking. It is on the departure side of an intersection, so when TransLink and officers look at a location of a bus stop, there's a preference to put it on what they say the departure side of the intersection if it's at a minor road, and that's so that when the bus stop's pulled up and people are alighting, it doesn't necessarily block that sight distance for a vehicle wanting to make a left or right turn from the minor road. We also look at impact to resident parking, and also the proximity of that bus stop to any other bus stops, or to safe crossing locations and to the rest of the footpath network. So they're the part of the considerations, I suppose, that have fed into where we've looked at these different options. So as we said, option 1 was to leave it as it is, but that overhangs a few metres into the intersection, and although the intersection is truncated, it still presents a risk that we're not particularly comfortable with proceeding with. The second option, which was our preferred location before we received an objection, was on the approach side of the Dean and High Street intersection. This is predominantly because it doesn't have any properties that sort of immediately front it and has minimal impact to parking. However, its location on the approach side isn't ideal in terms of where that location sits. As we said before, because when a bus is alighting, it sort of blocks that sight distance for vehicles turning left and right out of the intersection. The option C was to move it further down the road to the intersection of the approach side or departure side of the Crookshank and Dean Street intersection. There's no properties that have a sort of driveway or frontage to that particular location. However, it is starting to move 130 or 125 metres from the bus stop on the opposite side of Dean Street, and so there's a preference from TransLink to sort of have those in close proximity in case you're transferring from services, or if you're or if you need to move from one to the other, that they're sort of closely located and that there's a way to cross sort of safely. So the southern extent, Cruikshank Street, it's on the upper limits, I suppose, of that separation between the two bus stop locations. Whilst it's still an okay location, it's probably not as preferred as the option D, which is on the southern side of Dean Street and Venables. So that location does have an impact on parking. So there's a section, I suppose it's about 8 metres between two driveways, so one vehicle could reasonably park there, and it would be impacted as a result of this location. However, the location is very close to the opposite bus stop on Dean Street. It's also very close to the intersection of Dean Street and Frenchville Road, which gives people an avenue to cross the road and get back to that opposite bus stop, and is a bit closer, I suppose, to Council's existing footpath network. So you can see on the plan there, in the zoomed-in view, where where that bus pad is where you could probably reasonably park a car. That will be impacted. However, the property on the right-hand side, with the driveways there close to Venables Street, is on a corner, so they do have an avenue to park in Venables Street for access to that property. So whilst it's removing, I suppose, a bay or where you could park adjacent to the front, there is still the option to park on Venables Street there. So given the preference to have it close to the opposite bus stop, which you can see on that lower plan there, is on the opposite side of the road, its proximity to the roundabout and the existing network, and its minimal impact on parking, that's council officers, I suppose, preferred option moving forward. So this bus stop represents one of, I think, 2 that are left on council's program to bring up to DDA compliance in conjunction with TransLink, and is scheduled in the budget for this financial year. So once we can lock this location in, we'll finish design and the crew will get out and finish it before end of financial. So happy to take any questions from the table.
Okay, thanks very much, Stu. Just DDA, Disabled and Disability Access, is that the acronym?
Yeah, yep, so Disability Discrimination Act. So
Discrimination Act, right. And just that it's still a hail and ride. TransLink still provide a hail and ride for the general public, but specifically designed in locations that need to be accessed by people with disabilities, so they can get on public transport. So that's probably just an overview of the process. But I'll just ask Councillor Smith first if he had anything as a portfolio chair, any questions or information on that. Councillor Smith, anything?
Oh no, Mr Mayor, just a comment. Dean Street's one of our busiest streets, so it'd be good to get this right. I can understand people not wanting a bus stop outside their place. I've seen that happen a lot of times. I think this is the safest option, and revert to see if you get complaints with this one. But I think if we liaise with that property owner, it should be okay. So I'm happy with that proposal.
Thanks, Councillor Smith. Now I've got a couple of lights on. Councillor Kirkland, Councillor Latcham and Councillor Rutherford and Councillor Wickerson.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Through you. Just wanting to, in reference to option D, which I agree is looking like the best option. 2 questions. Number 1, did we liaise with bus drivers about the exiting from that? Because given that that is a very busy intersection, certainly at peak hour traffic times, that roundabout, whether or not they're going to have challenges getting back into the traffic flow from such a short entrance. Have you spoken to drivers about that and what their thoughts are around that in this process at all? So that's question 1.
Yeah, so through the chair, no, we haven't had those discussions yet with Sunbus. However, there is, from the exit there is, I suppose, a merge space there for them to merge into that intersection. And from some perspectives, because it's queued, it does present, I suppose, a slower environment for vehicles to merge in. But yeah, acknowledge that may, if there's excessive queue, may, I suppose, pose a difficulty if people aren't, being polite and courteous in driving. But as the way the merge is marked, it should be that it's sort of like a zip merge, so they should allow for the bus to come in. But yeah, noting that we may sort of have that discussion with the bus operators.
Do the buses have the giveaway to a bus anyway on them anyway?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
right away.
just very mindful, Mr Mayor, that
I know,
that
yeah.
intersection is certainly at peak hour traffic. Everybody's got their eye on just getting in and out of the roundabout without having to navigate entering buses and pedestrians and that
Yep.
sort of thing, which leans into my second question for you, is I note that there's a little bit of language around the accessibility of alighting and boarding passengers crossing the road to go and connect. Are we looking at putting in a pedestrian crossing for safer passage for those pedestrians, given that it will be, again, that everybody's got their eyes on just getting in and out of the roundabout, not necessarily pedestrians?
So, through the chair, there is, I suppose, some existing crossing points at the roundabouts, at the roundabout of Frenchville and Dean Street there, that we'd be sort of looking to utilise the current existing arrangements rather than propose something new in that current location. So,
Can you tell me what those exact areas are, because I'm not familiar with them?
so there, at the moment, I believe there is just some the splitter islands on the approach to the roundabout. So there's pedestrian approaches there, and then the splitter islands themselves. So they'll cross it staggered to the splitter island and then cross again onto the other side there. And there is also, if that, I suppose, makes residents or patrons a bit uncomfortable, there is the underpass to the northern side of that roundabout as well that snakes back up onto the other side of Frenchville Road.
The long way, yeah.
Yeah. I suppose it...
Not ideal, but,
no,
but
you wouldn't,
usable.
you wouldn't put a crossing that close to a roundabout
No,
or
well,
four lanes
that's-
of traffic.
I'm just thinking of the pedestrians and their safety, I suppose, is paramount in the decision, as well as those bus drivers being comfortable that they're going to be able to get back onto the main flow without too much interruption to their schedule.
Through the chair, in terms of the possible locations, it was, I suppose, located where we had the most amount of existing. So further down to that Crookshank Street one, there's no appropriate crossing point. So they then either have to walk all the way back up to here or to the south back to the Kerrigan Street lights. So it was trying to locate it, I suppose, as closest to what existing infrastructure was already there. But take the point that, yeah, there are, from that location to cross the road, there's a bit of a trek, I suppose, up to the intersection.
All right, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Latcham.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Through the chair, through to Stuart. If we're talking about a lighting to join up to another service, I don't think it's the right spot. There is one back at Kerrigan and Dean Street on the western side where you would alight from there and then join up with the Dean and Kerrigan on the outside the food store. That's where you would alight if you were going to. We're talking about bus service 402, as I understand, is the only one that goes past this point here. And so I guess my question is, do we know how many people actually use that point at all? Given that it is pretty close between the one at Kerrigan and Dean and then the one just around the corner.
Probably, Stuart, if you're going to explain the requirements to meet the legislation, they've got to be a certain distance. It's not where they are. They've got to be
150 metres.
The distances, rather than whether they're being used or not, just to be compliant.
Yeah, so through the chair, there's a preference, I suppose, in the location of this is an existing, I suppose, established bus stop with TransLink, and their preference is to retain a bus stop in that particular block. So that's probably what drove the location of it. Noting that, yes, there is one at Dean Street to the south of Kerrigan Street, and then there is also a service that comes along Kerrigan and turns left and heads up Dean Street as well, and there's a bus stop close to that location. But in terms of when we're doing the planning for bus stop locations, there's a preference to have them ideally within sort of 400 metres of most residential areas, so that you're within sort of a radius catchment. And so if you're in that section of to the west, let's say, of Dean Street there, in that Venables, Hyde, Crookshank, that area there, some will be able to be in close proximity to the ones that you've mentioned, but then if you're getting closer to Moores Creek, this is probably the next closest location. So that sort of drives the decision as to where we need to have those extra ones. But in terms of the actual patron numbers that are there, I couldn't say off the top of my head, but we can ask the operators and try and provide that information back, because they do keep some numbers on who alights and where that happens.
Yeah, thank you. I just thought that would have been a consideration as to whether you'd continue the service or not. If it's not being used, then you'd kind of, given it is such a busy area, probably if it was possible not to have it because of how busy it is, I'd be preferring that way. But I'm happy with your report.
It's a requirement that we have it though, Stuart, isn't it? It's not that there's an option to have it or not.
Yeah, can I, just through the chair,
Yes, Peter.
all we're doing with this bus stop is it's funded and we're just making it slightly safer. So those locations, they don't like losing them. TransLink determine that network. And we're just doing a task for them, which is just adjusting this one bus stop, and we've spent over 18 months of this to adjust a bus stop, and they determine and will adjust network and where they're located, but that's TransLink that does that, not us.
Thanks, Peter. Councillor Rutherford?
Yeah, I'm along the same lines as Councillor Kirkland. I'm just a little worried about the close proximity to that roundabout and how busy that roundabout is. And I was also concerned about visibility for those people backing out of their driveways into a very busy area. So do we know whether there's going to be clear vision, or will there be an obstruction to their vision?
So through the chair, at the moment, with the run-in and where the bus locates for the period that it's there, it actually obstructs some of those driveways there, like physically obstructs them. But in an urban area, given the run-in length and the length of the bus, it's quite common that we would allow that to happen. So on the opposite side of the road, the bus stop where it actually sits does extend over a driveway. So the idea, I suppose, is that the bus is only there temporarily. It's not parking and at a rest break or anything. It's just dropping and alighting passengers and continuing to move. But we note that that is an issue for the residents that are there, and that whilst the bus is there, it will have some impact on sight distance for people reversing out. But at any of those locations along Dean Street, you'll encounter that same problem at any of the locations we picked to reverse out of a driveway. If a bus is there at that time, you won't see. So it's a difficult situation, but in an urban area, the expectation is that the bus will only be there temporarily and then move off, and then that person will have, outside those times, they'll have clear sight distance to reverse out of the driveway. And
probably the general public, it's hail and ride, they can just wave a bus down at anyone, and that's probably do the same thing at...
Sorry, Mr Mayor, I thank Stuart for that. It probably wasn't... the question I probably should have asked is the bus stop a covered bus stop with walls?
No. So through the chair, it's just the concrete slab and the J-pole, so it doesn't have a shelter associated with it.
Okay,
Yep.
So that was my concern. If it was a shelter, was it a permanent vision hazard? So thank you for the other description, but it wasn't quite where I was going with. So just a little concerned about how close it is to that roundabout and how busy that roundabout is.
Councillor Wickerson?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Along the same lines, was there going to be a shelter in some time future, and would the design of that be a vision hazard? But you've answered that.
So through the chair, if there was to be a shelter there located, it would be set back beyond, I suppose, that pad, so that extend the pad out and have the footpath go in front of it. So that's for twofold reasons, is that TransLink has a preference not to run footpaths behind the back of shelters, but also if it's set back that little bit further, then you've got a clear vision for a vehicle reversing out that it doesn't obstruct it. So if we were to do one in the future, it'd be sort of at the back end of that concrete slab where we could, which would allow a bit more sight distance coming out of a driveway there.
Yeah. And I take your point too that the buses will only be there for a moment while they park and move on. And the one car park that we lose, that probably would have created more of a vision hazard for a longer period of time than what the bus might on a shorter period, if that makes sense. We were talking about disability access before, but on the little breakout diagram there, the crossfall maximum of 2.5%, that's about the same as what a road lane would be. But I know that's a maximum, but that seems steep. Like if we're sitting there with a wheelchair, you can quite easily roll on that. Do we try and get them more level than 2.5% where we can?
Yeah, so through the chair, the crossfall that's adopted there obviously is the maximum. The reason why that's shown there is that they haven't gone and done survey pickup at that location yet, because we're in concept, because we were looking at different options. We didn't want to go and get survey at every single one of the different options. So once we've locked that in, they can go and pick up survey and try and get that grade a little bit better. The grade there isn't too bad, so the ideal is that, I suppose, we're trying to keep it as flat as we can. because there are requirements within the DDA compliance that they have to adopt to. Off the top of my head, I don't know what the max grade is. I dare say it probably is at 2.5%, but they'll be trying to put it as flat as we possibly can. But in the absence of survey, they've just said what the maximum would be, I suppose.
Yeah, okay. And final one, Mr. Mayor, if I may. You talked about having community engagement with the residents there. What's the process? So will you go back now that we've landed on, soon to land on a resolution for it, back to those affected properties and get some feedback from them and then come back to a table, or what?
Through the chair previously, I believe that there were, it was more a letter to the residents to tell them that that bus stop was going to be going in at that location.
Yeah.
And then that prompted, I suppose, the particular resident to raise an objection with it.
Yeah.
So I believe that would be the way going forward, is to inform them, I suppose, of that proposed location, that the bus stop would be located there, and some information and some drawing about it, and then giving them an avenue, I suppose, to come to council and talk to them if they wish.
Yeah. Sorry, the final one I just thought of then, and I haven't caught a bus for a while, but does the bus service stop at a certain time at night? Is it stop at 7 o'clock or later? I'm just thinking about it's only one park, but...
Yeah, so through the chair, it's 6 to 6 are the hours that are associated with the bus zone. So they'll be marked as Monday to Friday, or Monday to Saturday, I think 6 to 6. And so it'll only be through those hours. But I believe that the bus service, depending on the schedules, but generally we allocate 6 to 6, which gives TransLink and the operators a little bit of flexibility if they have to change schedules. But outside of 6, then it is available for someone to park in.
Okay,
yep.
No, excellent. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Councillor Wickerson. Councillor Mathers.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Mr. Mayor. Just through you to Stuart and Peter. Yeah, it's a bit of a hard one, this, because I think all 4 options aren't ideal, but I do believe that this is probably the best option over where it currently is. So, one of my questions was also going to be about the grade for the handicap. So, as far as options go, I think it's the best that's been presented to us. So, thank you.
Councillor Kirkland.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Stuart, I don't really mean to labour on this, but I'm just mindful of the current bus stop has a really wonderful shady tree there. And just previously in the questioning, you've mentioned that this is just going to be a cement slab. Is it council's responsibility to maybe plant a tree or something there because we're very conscious of the environment that we live in, and just throwing those residents, it's a doctor's surgery across the road, and I'm imagining that there are elderly people, etc., that potentially are utilising this service to access that doctor's surgery, and to be sitting in the sun is not ideal. Hopefully that down the track that would be a sheltered bus stop, but in the interim, whose responsibility is it, and would we be making some consideration about providing that shade?
So through the chair, at this stage there wasn't consideration to that, but if council wishes to, we can look at the installation of a street tree there. However, we'd probably have to consider overhead power and services and some other impacts, I suppose, that are in that place.
Probably just to give a bit of context on it, how many of these pad ones would we have across the region without any shade?
A lot, yeah.
We have through the chair, we have installed these pads over the last 3 to 4 years. I can't think of the number, and the funding is only for the DDA compliance, so the flat piece. There is no funding for shelters, and we've got hundreds of them with no cover. There is talk of a program coming out, and there may be, we will be going back there and looking at putting covers over it. But there's 2 things. One, just about every bus stop, as described by Stuart, they push it back off the network, but every time we do that in suburbia, it is blocking the view or the sight line for that temporary little piece. So in suburbia, bus stops are in front of houses. That's how they work. So there will be an impact as we go forward potentially by installing them, but there's a recognition that we should be trying to do at least the high usage ones, getting shade there. So TransLink are coming to talk to council. I think there may even be a meeting in the Mayor's diary within the next month, and that's to talk about a program of bus shelters.
Thanks, Peter. Through you, Mr Mayor, that's music to my ears, to hear that you're having that meeting with TransLink.
Probably we've been, as new council, as a previous chair of infrastructure, there have been programs there that we've been rolling out, new bus shelters across the region, but again, subject to funding and grants that were available. Hitting those high network roads where a lot more public, a lot more use, were able to do it. So, yeah, and again, it's a rolling program where we'll look to include more as we go forward.
It's good to see that.
I think with climate change, we want to get more people out of single people driving a vehicle, more people on public transport. If we can encourage that through better means of comfort is the best way to do that. So.
Yeah, I agree, Mr Mayor, and I suppose in this they can stand under the tree and then walk down to the thing when the bus is approaching, so that's good to see. Thanks, Peter, for that information.
Thank you. Councillor Smith, you happy to move? Option D, move Councillor Smith, seek a seconder.
Please.
Councillor Kirkland, I'll put those in favour. Motion is carried unanimous. Thank you, councillors. Moving on to item 10.5, Beef Roads Corridor, Queensland Beef Roads Corridor request. Councillor Smith, we've had that logged, but you're able to be part of this one, so we'll hand over to Angus to walk us through this one. Councillors, I got a phone call from Mayor Central Highlands, Kerry Hayes, asking to, being the beef capital, that with two major processing plants, that we consider being included in this group for our own interests as well. So I'll hand over to Angus on that.
Morning, Mayor and councillors. Through the Chair, as the Mayor's indicated, we've received an invitation from Mayor Kerry Hayes from Central Highlands to participate in this Queensland Beef Corridors Councils group. It probably goes without saying that the beef industry is significant to not only the wider region but also to Rockhampton, with we'll claim both meat processors, even though one's on the other side of our boundary. So we have two substantial meat processors in Rockhampton. We have a number of livestock transport operators that are based out of the Gracemere industrial area. So the industry as a whole is significant to Rockhampton. The Beef Roads, Beef Corridors Council is intended to advocate for increased funding, and particularly targeted at sealing a number of unsealed road networks throughout central Queensland to improve the efficiency and continuity of the beef supply chains. So, for example, in Rockhampton, where we have our meat processors, they can be impacted by adverse weather events where you might have a road closed in the Central Highlands or the Central West, where they're not actually able to get livestock transported into Rockhampton, either by flood impacts or impassable unsealed roads. Happy to take any questions in relation to the report.
Councillor Kirkland.
It's probably a comment more than anything, Mr Mayor. I just think that, Council have recently illustrated and shown through the Queensland Business Friendly Councils program our commitment to local business, and that this particular alignment shows substance and reassures the regional ratepayers as well as all those rural industry stakeholders that we're batting for them and to achieve better outcomes. It's a shame that ratepayers and councils have been forced into needing to finance matters of advocacy for, I think, what the state and feds should be doing, but connector and feeder roads that lead through the Rockhampton Regional Council is not just our footprint, of course, the other councils as well, is responsible for tourism and mining and other energy, the energy sectors. There's strength in united forces, and there's no denying that. When other tiers of government see that we're all combined commitment, we should hopefully see some return of substance from them through way of grants and getting these roads done. I think it's a great program and happy to be involved.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Kirkland. And again, improving safety on those roads too is something there that's probably not highlighted enough, but improving those roads that are long distances, and the more safer you can make them, the better it is for all involved, again, with tourism and the resources sector, and then agriculture as well.
Through the Chair, yes, while it's focused on beef corridors and the beef industry supply chain, it certainly has much wider ramifications for those communities and those families that travel on those roads. And some of those families do business in Rockhampton and have kids that come to school in Rockhampton.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, councillors, there's no further questions. Could I seek a mover and a seconder? Councillor Smith, seconded. Councillor Rutherford, I'll put that. Those in favour? Motion's carried. Thank you, councillors. Thanks, Angus.
Yeah, unanimous, mate. Unanimous.
Oh, yes, unanimous. Thank you. Item 11.1, notice of motion, Councillor Shane Latcham, Waste and Management Resource Recovery Conference, Bundaberg. You're happy to move?
Yes, Mr Mayor.
Can I seek a seconder with regards to that one? Councillor Mathers. Any comment to that? Councillors, any questions? If not, I'll put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you. Councillor, we have a couple of items to be dealt with in closed session, but is there any questions on notice or urgent business? Nothing there. I'll move into, I'll ask that a mover and a seconder that we move into closed session to deal with two items, 15.1 property acquisition and 15.2 sale of properties for overdue rates. Move Councillor Wickerson, seconded Councillor Kirkland. I'll put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Carried. And move that we move to closed session. Struggling through it. Move Councillor Kirkland, seconded Councillor Wickerson. I'll put that. Those in favour? Motion's carried. Thank you. We'll move into closed session.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming. we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine. Everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line. Ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine. Everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line. Ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine. Everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line. Ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine. Everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line. Ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Councillors, 15.1, property acquisition. Officer's recommendation that the CEO or delegate coordinate a property insurance progress the matter per the recommendation in the report, subject to the approval of in the revised budget. Councillors, seek a mover and a second with regards to that one. Move Councillor Kirkland, seconded Councillor Wickerson. Put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Do you wish to record those? Councillor Mathers wish to record? Vote against. Moving on to the second item, 15.2. That the officer's recommendation, I'm not going to go through all that one, that's going to take a while through, but I'm happy to move as per the officer's recommendation. Seek a second to Councillor Wickerson. Put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Councillors, there be no further business for today's meeting. Councillor Wickerson.
Sorry, Mr Mayor, just one last one. Some councillors, and I'm sure Councillor Smith will have known Mr Bruce McCamley, who passed away fairly recently. Councillor Smith might want to add some more, but I know he had many years on Fitzroy Shire Council, and I've known him personally through the Bajul and Marmore Ratepayers Association, and his lovely wife Faye McCamley as well, who's obviously deeply saddened at the moment, as we all are. So on Thursday at 11 o'clock at Cocoa Brew, there's going to have a small memorial for him. It's a closed invitation to the funeral proper, just for family, but if councillors are interested in attending, I'm sure we'd all be welcome to attend that.
Thanks.
Councillor Smith, you want to add some? Yep.
Yeah, thanks for that, Councillor. I had it on my notes to bring up and I completely forgot about it. I remember going to an LGAQ conference where Bruce was presented with his 30-year certificate, and he also was chair of the Sale Board for a long, long time, well over 20 years, I think. So, yeah, and a great community advocate. He was always at the ratepayer meetings, just loved his community, and yeah, very sad, very sad.
Okay, thanks very much for that update, both Drew and Councillor Smith. That yeah, if we're available and councillors can make that one, I'm sure that they definitely will. Again, recognising Bruce's work for the community and yeah, his involvement in the community. So yeah, sad day. Okay, councillors, there be no further.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councillor Smith.
Mr. Mayor. Oh, sorry. Could that be recorded as a motion so it goes in the minutes? Like, just in recognition of a long-serving councillor?
Yep, we'll get some words to that. Again, Bruce is chairing the meetings at the Bajul Ratepayers one on yeah, very diligent and one there. I'm sure the efforts of that group for that community will be felt for many years to come. His involvement. Councillor Wickerson.
Mr Mayor, I appreciated Bruce's support one night because it was a bit surprising. Then we had comments from the floor, which we all hear in the rural sector, you know, we get nothing for our rates, and I might have commented something like, you're probably better off now than previously because we put more back in than we take out, and as expected, there was some howls from the audience. Bruce supported these, said no, ratepayers, that's exactly right, we've never been better off, more better off than under Rockhampton Region, so it was a pleasant surprise that he jumped in, being on the former council, but he recognised the difficulties of, you know, the small rate base and trying to service your community, so he was very grateful for that support. I was a fairly green council at that time and really appreciated that.
Yep. Okay, councillors, Councillor Smith, you'd like to move that? Councillor
Yes,
Wickerson, second? Okay, councillor, I'll put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors.
Thanks very much for that.
That's okay. On that note, we'll close the meeting up and thank everyone for your attendance. Thank you.
Home is with you wherever that may